and welcome to my YouTube channel if you are new, and welcome back my OGs. Thank you for having faith in me and coming back to the channel. As always, my name is Angela and this is your go-to hub for all things self-improvement and personal development. Let's get into it. Today's video is a very interesting one. Very interesting one. And preparing for the video, I was just eager to quit with the preparation process and actually start shooting because it was just so interesting that I was in a hurry to get started. All right then, let's dive in. Today's video is about how self-love affects relationships. By relationships, I don't just mean romantic, amorous relationships. I mean the relationships you have with your friends, your sisters, with acquaintances, with neighbors, strangers, and of course, your partner. Self-love absolutely affects relationships, no two ways about that. And it affects it in so many different kind of ways. The thing about self-love is that it's manifested in different facets, right? In different facets of self-improvement or under the whole personal development niche, self-love manifests in different ways. It can manifest in esteem, it can manifest in being a people pleaser, it can manifest in discipline and laziness and all of that. All those things find a way to fall under the umbrella of self-love. I have a video on my channel, I'll link that in the cards, which goes deeper into what self-love itself actually entails. But I'm going to look at it from the angle of a person lacking self-love and how that lack affects their relationships rather than a person having self-love and the advantages it has to their relationships. I can make a video on that later if you'd like. As a matter of fact, comment in the comment section if you'd like me to make a video on that. Absolutely, I would. But I'm looking at it from a point of somebody suffering with a lack of self-love. So the first thing that happens is that if you lack self-love, you tend to accept bare minimum. This is because one of the characteristics of lacking self-love is that you don't put yourself first. You don't prioritize yourself. You tend to put other people's needs above your own. How this manifests negatively in relationships is that you tend to be very comfortable with bare minimum, with little. I mean, if you're not able to prioritize yourself, if you're not able to put yourself first to the point where you set strict boundaries as to what you tolerate, as to what you don't tolerate, and all of that, obviously it would be taken advantage of. Consciously or unconsciously, that is just human nature. That if you're somebody that allows anything in, accepts any and everything, people will take advantage of it. So it's not to say that the person you're with is bad. It could have been that you've allowed so many things in to the point where it's become natural in the state of your relationship, right? So realize that if you and your partner happen to break up, sometimes you tend to see that the things he was doing with you, he's not doing with that other person. Why? Because that person has boundaries, and those boundaries have been accepted. They've become entrenched in the entire relationship, right? It's just become normalized in the relationship. Just like the way your lack of boundaries became normalized in your relationship. The thing about boundaries is that if you have boundaries and you don't air them, you don't put them forward, it's like you yourself aren't respecting your boundaries. You're not valuing your boundaries the way you should. And if you don't respect your boundaries, or you don't have boundaries at all, then how are you going to enforce them on anybody? That is how come the person you are with can be giving you like total bare minimum and you accept it, you tolerate it. You see other relationships and you can see that there is something lacking in my relationship, but I can't put my finger on it. But if you love yourself enough to value yourself at a certain level, you would put across your boundaries to whoever you're with. You would know that, no, I deserve more. I'm putting in an amount of effort and I have to receive that amount back. The second thing that happens if you lack self-love is that it could lead to an inadequate show of concern to your partner. How? Like I said, one of the ways lack of self-love tends to manifest is through low self-esteem, right? And what happens is that if, let's say, your partner has fallen into a bad situation, is in a bit of a pickle, right? And ordinarily, he or she would expect you to show up, would expect you to be there for them, offer that shoulder and support system, right? That would be the normal human expectation. Unknown to him that you are also seated thinking, what at all am I going to say that will change anything? He has so many people around him that can offer better advice and help than me. What help at all can I offer? So you just remain quiet and assume that your help wouldn't have made any difference anyway. So you might as well just be quiet. but your partner would not see it as such. Your partner will see it as, this is not a very caring person. This person is not very caring. That's why sometimes you see that you are dating somebody and it's like, in certain aspects they are so caring, but in aspects where you expect them to show up, it's like, what's up? Where did that trait just disappear to? For some people, that is the explanation, right? So your partner, on the other hand, will start to feel like this person is not caring. And it's problematic if your partner feels like an essential aspect of a relationship they require is missing. It's important. If you care about your relationship, it's something you should be worried about if your partner is starting to feel that way. Because a very, 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 very wise friend of mine once told me that relationships are like, let's say, a plate of food. Let's say fries, ketchup, and chicken. Fried chicken. Let's say fries, ketchup, and chicken. And this is how you like your food. Fries, ketchup, chicken, the whole shebang. But you've gone to this shop and they're only serving you fries and ketchup. But on the other hand, this shop is serving you fries, ketchup, and chicken. Put yourself in the other person's shoes. Do you really think you wouldn't see yourself gradually, slow but sure, veering towards your full plate of food? Fries, ketchup, and chicken. You understand? So if your partner is in a situation where they feel like this is a very fundamental aspect I require in my relationships, they rather have strict boundaries and values. So they expect you to embody that, they have expectations. But you lack that. Look at that. It plays on my first point. So if your partner feels like they're lacking this essential element, and Lisa has it, very slowly, very gradually, if care is not taken, they can start venturing towards Lisa. So that is another way that your low self-esteem can affect your relationship. The third thing I want to talk about is that you tend to unconsciously project your insecurities on your partner. How, you might ask? Well, imagine that you are a 5'10" male, right? And maybe growing up, you never really liked your height, but you learned to like it, right? You accepted it, you took it. But there's somewhere at the back of your mind that there's this hidden sense of, I wish I were taller, at the back of your mind, right? And you start dating somebody that, it seems like she has a type. Like her record is 6 foot tall, 6 foot tall, 6 foot tall. So then anytime you see her in the company of somebody that is, 6 foot tall, you're extra alert, extra protective, extra jealous and vigilant, because you are not so self-confident in yourself that she will stand by you, because you yourself aren't. It's like, because you're not even sure if you were in her shoes, you will stand by you. Because, you are even wishing you were that high secretly. You understand? So because of that, you are extra jealous and alert and, protective, overly protective. Unless you don't see that her boss is 6'2", you are going to work too much. Aren't you supposed to be working from home today? Unless you don't see that her new work colleague is tall and giving that kind of aesthetic. Why do you keep on hanging out with Damon? Yada, yada, yada. You understand? That is the way you project your insecurities on your partner. And guys believe that all these things actually affect your partner. That is how come they tend to affect the relationship overall. Because in her head, or in his head, you are acting funny all of a sudden. And the thing about the way lack of self-love manifests is that it's not clear-cut. The symptoms of lack of self-love don't come out in an obvious way that would make you outrightly know that this is what it is, or make others know that this is what it is. Like if you didn't study for an exam, you go right, you don't pass. You didn't pass because you didn't study, full stop. It's very clear-cut, ABC, black and white. But for the way lack of self-love manifests, it's not like that. It's like it just gradually seeds through, slowly seeds through. That is why when some issues pop up in some relationships, they have to see a specialist, they have to see a therapist to uncover the roots of the problem. Because you yourself would not even be able to determine what it is. But it is that your lack of self-love, it is that your low self-esteem, it is that your inability to prioritize yourself, to set boundaries, that has manifested in this way, that is producing these unpleasant results. But like I said, it's not clear-cut, so you wouldn't know. You would need a specialist. Right. So, in the scenario I was given earlier, do you think that your partner, Amy, sorry for putting you on the spot. Do you think that your partner, Amy, will be happy with sudden overbearing, overprotectiveness, and jealousy? And she doesn't know you to have low self-esteem. She doesn't know you to lack self-love in that regard. So, it's looking like, where is this coming from? Where is this coming from? Why are you being so insecure? I've given you assurance that I chose you, this and that, yada yada yada. I mean, we watch romance movies, you know what I'm talking about. And even on the other side of that, another way we project our insecurities, right, on our partners or friends or whatever it is may be, but still going with the partner example, the height example as well, is, let's say you have a slight low-key insecurity with your height, as established earlier, but you met Amy, you met Amy, and Amy was a tall woman. Let's say 5'10", 5'11". She was a tall woman. She is a tall woman. But you got feelings for her to the point where it didn't matter. You didn't care that she was a head taller than you. It didn't matter, right? If you go into a relationship, it's been going good. However, because that insecurity exists, you're going out to dinner, Amy has gotten dressed, brought out her 6-inch heels, about to slay. Then you say, no, don't wear those shoes. And she's like, why? They don't fit the outfit. But you know she is looking good. You know it's a 10 out of 10 plus 10. But no, don't wear those shoes. That's the real reason. Because she's going to dwarf you in those heels. She's going to add an extra 4 inches to her already 5'11". Whereas you are still at your 5'10". So you are just insecure at the fact that the height difference is going to be obvious. So you start doing these things. It's like you are determining what you should wear. You are this, you are that, you are that. Do you really think it wouldn't start to bring issues in your relationship though? It would. Amy wouldn't be happy. Amy wouldn't be happy because now, because of the person she's dating, she's limited. She's not feeling free to express herself the way she wants to in her appearance. And perhaps she would love the shoes because she wants to please you, but at what expense? At the expense of her happiness. That is another way that we tend to project our insecurities. So now you are calling the shots, but not in the right way, not in a positive way, but in a way that could even make Amy feel bad about her height. Meanwhile, outside, she absolutely adores it. Example, right? So as a partner, instead of you being a source of light and joy, what are you being? You are instilling low self-esteem and sadness in somebody because it can lead to that. It can lead to that. At the same time, outside of relationships even, you meet people that are like, oh, why are you so tall? Why are you so tall? It goes both ways. When you meet a man that, approaches a tall woman and it's like, you are too tall, or why so tall? And, they have that kind of energy towards your appearance. You shouldn't outrightly feel sad or bad because it can be that they are projecting their insecurities on you. You being so tall standing next to them is making their average height obvious or their shortness obvious. It's making a clear cut. And obviously they are not very confident in their appearance. They're not very accepting. And so they will try to make you either feel bad or, essentially that's what it is. There's even no other option. That is what it is. They will try to make you rather feel bad or insecure about it. Oh, what's this? But you are rather showing that you are the one that has the problem. And like I said, it goes both ways. Tall women constantly making short men feel, or average height feel some type of way. Auntie, are you sure that you are very, very confident in your appearance? Because if you are, why are you making somebody else feel less than about theirs? It shows a lack of self-love or a low self-esteem in yours. So you're making it seem like I am not too tall. It's you that is too short. Honestly, seriously, regarding physical appearance, you really don't need to explain yourself to anybody because we didn't even create ourselves. If we created ourselves, then you can answer, oh, when I was creating myself, I chose this height because, I chose this nose because, I chose short hair because, that kind of thing. But because we didn't create ourselves, you don't owe anybody an explanation. Why are you so tall? Why are you so short? Because God created me this way. What else should I say? I don't have an answer, So that is another way. So beware and be cautious. And that people like that are just projecting their insecurities on you, and don't let it get in your head. Continue to have your confidence in yourself. You have self-love. And the final way that a lack of self-love affects relationships is preconceived notions that you can have. And that also can stem from low self-esteem. Let me explain. Maybe in your high school, you had an experience where, let's say, the guys in your school, the hot guys that all the ladies wanted and whatnot. You had an experience where they liked, let's say, dark-skinned girls, and you are a light-skinned girl. So now, you unconsciously develop this idea that men like dark-skinned girls, or good-looking men or hot men like dark-skinned girls. And this idea has developed in your mind. It's very ripe in your mind, but you're unaware. So you go to a place, you enter a space, a gathering, you see nice men, hot men. Then you instantly remember, these people, I'm sure they like dark skinned girls. Let me save my light skin ass somewhere. You understand? So because of that, you don't mingle, you don't interact, because in your head, you want to be rejected. You like dark skin women, and I'm not dark skinned, so you know my place. So you don't interact. You give off a certain energy, and best believe, if you are giving off this energy, they will give it back. People don't like to, because they too, you would look like you're unapproachable, you are not friendly. Nobody wants to be embarrassed. So if you're giving off a certain kind of energy, they're not going to be the ones to come and approach you and stand the chance of being told off or called off or embarrassed. No. If you're coming off as unapproachable and giving off some kind of, sorry to say, bitchy energy, nobody's going to approach you. Then what do you know? A dark skinned girl shows up and she doesn't have those notions. Coincidentally, it's a dark skinned girl that showed up. She doesn't have those notions. She's bubbly and chatty and cheerful with everybody, and they return the energy. They are also bubbly, cheerful, and happy with her. And merrymaking, right? Then in your head, aha, I knew it. When I came, this is not how they were with me. But when a dark skinned girl came over, this is how you're relating with her. I knew it. Then in your head, Rubik's Cube has been solved. The code is cracked. You are right. You've been vindicated, or whatever the case may be. But that is not the case. That is not what happened. And it still goes back to the fact that as humans, we believe our minds. We believe our minds maybe a little too much. Any kind of idea that creeps into your mind. If you go there, they'll kick you out, so you believe it, so you don't go. So many things. So in that same scenario, as soon as your mind said they like dark skinned girls, so don't bother. You didn't bother. You believed it. And then subsequently, when it starts to play out, maybe you don't have friends. You wonder why. Because you just assumed that, let's say, the blonde girls will be mean girls. So you never interacted, you never attempted, right? So now you're lonely, you don't have friends. Or you've been single for a minute. You can't put your finger on it because you're drop dead gorgeous. But obviously, it's not just about that, right? These are some of the things. Like I always say, look within. And if any of these apply to you, you can know how to go about addressing it. But these are some of the reasons why some relationships are suffering, friendships are suffering. You can't make new friends, can't meet new people, especially regarding meeting new people. It's difficult, or a person can find it difficult because of preconceived notions about, let's say, those group of people or that particular person. But sometimes just take a shot, just take the chance. And it goes both ways. Sometimes too, it falls back to low self-esteem. Because you don't believe in yourself, you don't see that you are nice looking enough, you just assume that you are not good enough for that person, so the person is going to turn you down. Obviously, that's not the way to go, because if you watch a lot of shows, you realize that a lot of how did we meet stories, how we met stories, kind of started with, I was interested, I didn't know how to approach you, blah, 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 blah. I thought you were going to turn me down, blah, 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 blah. It's a fairly common phenomenon where people think I'm not good enough to approach this. But if that is the case, there are so many instances where we see, let's say, based on societal standards, we see like a beautiful woman with an average man. Like they'll say based on societal standards. And I know you all will say it's because he has money. It's not always because he has money, or it's not because he has money per se. It's because physical appearance truly isn't everything, and that is fact. And let me use this platform to correct that. It is not always because he has, as a matter of fact, he broke. So now why? So now what is the reason why she's with him then? You get what I mean? I can't want all day. Like I said, I'm doing my best to keep my videos short and sweet. Don't forget to leave in the comments if you want me to do a spin-off video on this, on how having self-love positively affects relationships. You being very self-confident and bold in yourself, how that affects relationships. You can put that in the comment section. Let me know if you would like that video. If I was talking like this throughout the entire video, y'all would have clicked off ages ago. Anyway, so I'm going to end it here. Please do well to subscribe as always. If you got any value at all from this video, I'll put my socials in the description box. If you could interact on those platforms as well, that would be amazing. And as always, hit the notification bell so that you get notified when I release new content. You keep up to date. And that is it. It's a wrap. See you on the next one.